Most people trying to fix their hormones, they start with the wrong thing. They chase supplements, they blame stress, or they think sleep is the problem, when in reality, it all starts in the gut. And in order to have good gut health, we need to build our gut in the right way. And when we get good gut health, we have the foundations in order to build good hormonal balance. In this masterclass, you are going to learn why gut health will underpin true hormonal balance. You will learn the hidden signs of poor gut health, and you will also learn what to actually do about it, alongside why probiotics alone won't fix it and actually may make things worse. So why is gut health so important for hormones? Well, the gut is the control center for inflammation. It's the control center for nutrient absorption and the control center for full-on detoxification. And you can't make hormones without the raw materials. And those raw materials, they come from the food which we can actually digest, we actually absorb, not just what we put in our mouth. 70% of serotonin is actually made in the gut, which then influences our mood and it influences our stress hormones like cortisol, which we need to regulate effectively. Now, poor gut function will raise your inflammation levels. That, as a result, will block hormone receptor sensitivity and will cause problems with hormones such as testosterone, such as thyroid hormones and estrogen. And we have a thing called the gut-liver hormone triangle. Gut health controls how effectively we detoxify used hormones, meaning that, in short, we get rid of hormones that we have been using to create space for new hormones. And good gut health will allow us to do that effectively. So what causes problems with our gut health? Now, chronic stress and high cortisol will slow digestion and reduce stomach acid, causing things like acid reflux. No, it is not high stomach acid causing this. Overuse of antibiotics will smash your gut health, and also PPIs, the very things prescribed for reflux, make your gut health worse and can cause hormone deficiencies. Now, diets high in processed foods and low fiber and low diversity will also smash your gut health, alongside alcohol, alongside caffeine, and alongside being stressed, eating on the go will impact your gut health in a negative manner. Now, food intolerances, things like low-grade infections such as yeast or Candida overgrowths, things like parasites that you get when you go and get really bad gut health on holiday, and even things like H. pylori, which is the most common infection in the world, will all smash your gut health. Then we have poor sleep, and we have circadian rhythm disrupting the microbiome that seems to be this endemic that we have at the moment. I see clients all the time thinking they have hormone problems when actually it is the gut. And the fact they've been using alcohol to sleep, and they've been thinking that their lansoprazole, which has been helping, has actually been causing issues with the gut, making things worse. You see why we actually need to work on the gut now? So what are signs of poor gut health? First off, the obvious one is bloating or gassiness, especially after meals. Another one is inconsistent bowel movements. If you're constipated or needing to run to the toilet, like you have a meal and it's Russian roulette, whether you go and have to sprint to the toilet or you don't go for 3 days. Another one is brain fog or afternoon energy crashes, which just seems to be one of the most common things that people tell me they get with energy issues. Things like skin breakouts, things like histamine reactions. And one big one linked with the gut, especially linked with the gut, with the liver and blood sugar imbalance, is waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, usually to go to the toilet, but it's actually poor sugar and gut issues. One big one, which people link with hormones, which could be linked with the gut, is low motivation, poor recovery from training, or low libido. So even if you don't feel digestive symptoms, you can still have a dysfunctional gut. And it will often show up as hormone problems when we look on the gut test or on blood tests, and we see problems with cholesterol, we see iron absorption, and we see things here rather than actual stomach pain. The knock-on impact on sleep when it comes to your gut health is quite severe. Poor gut health will impact melatonin production, since serotonin from the gut converts to melatonin at night, which is the hormone which helps us actually get to sleep and switch off. Another thing is that inflammation and endotoxins will disturb your cortisol rhythms. So what does that mean is your stress hormone will be up and down at the wrong time when we really don't want it to. And it will lead to that wired, tired feeling when your head literally hits the pillow, or you wake up in the middle of the night with true levels of anxiety, thinking literally your life is going to end. And every single worry over the last 30 years has just come into play right there and then. Another thing is that gut dysbiosis will trigger blood sugar instability, causing even more of those 2 or 3 a.m. wake ups. And more mind racing anxiety, and the need to go to the toilet. And we think we're just waking to go to the toilet, which is the most common problem. Waking during the night is common, not normal. We should be able to go through the night without needing the toilet, especially not getting up and going to the toilet and then not being able to get to sleep. Also, the gut-brain axis will mean that poor digestion equals an overactive nervous system, which equals poor rest, which will equal more fatigue. If you want to wake up with steady energy, it's not about another sleep supplement. It's about fixing the gut first. So what supplements will help? And no, it's not as simple as getting probiotics or grabbing a Yakult out of the fridge. I wish it was as simple as that. Most people will throw probiotics at the problem, but that's like putting flowers in a dirty vase. We need to clean the vase first. You need to clean up the gut. You need to rebuild it first. So we have 3 phases. The first phase is cleanup. So we have things like antimicrobial herbs. We have digestive support. We work on bile flow and we work on enzymes. Then phase 2 is where we rebuild the gut. We look at glutamine. We look at zinc carnosine, colostrum, short chain fatty acids, deglycerized licorice extract. Then phase 3 looks at re-inoculating the gut. Specific probiotics and specific prebiotics if they are tolerated. We don't go straight for probiotics because they can do more harm than good. You can't repopulate bacteria if the environment we're putting them in isn't right first. So some basic starting points. These aren't prescriptions. They're literally general recommendations. Always consult a professional for your individual advice. If you want to chat with me, you know exactly where I am. Things we can put in there. As I said, DGL, deglycerized licorice extract to soothe the gut. Digestive enzymes before meals. Glutamine powder to repair the gut lining. And magnesium glycinate at night for allowing yourself to get into a deeper level of sleep, or citrate for a little bit more bowel motility and helping regulate stress levels. How should you work your nutrition in order to help your gut? We have to start first off with whole foods, eating slowly, chewing properly. Don't be scrolling your phone while you're eating your food. Actually be present. I say to people, sit down before a meal. I'm religious, so I will pray before eating. If you're not religious, doing a few deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, they're all going to help you when it comes to being present and eating your food. And include a wide variety of fibers. I see so many people where you see this carnivore diet. Oh, we don't have to eat any fiber. Yeah, you do if you want good gut health. Sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Another thing that's going to help you is not eating at your desk or where you pay bills. It's a book by Robert Sapolsky called Behave. And in that, he talks about, there's a study that was done that shows that if you eat where you pay your bills, or where you work and it's deemed stressful for you, it will limit your ability to digest your food. So have a think about that the next time you put your food in the microwave and grab it while still doing your next client check-in. Another one is aiming for 30 different plant types per week just to feed the diverse bacteria. Something I do with clients is I have veggie ice cubes. So we basically get 30 different veg, like 20, 25, 30 different veg that you wouldn't normally have. We chop them up and put them in a food processor raw. We blitz them. And then we start to mix them together and put them into ice cube trays. And then once or twice a day, getting an ice cube out, blitzing it in a protein shake, blending it all together, having it raw. It just helps just populate the gut with some small little levels of bacteria that helps then just re-inoculate and grow. Another thing you can do is don't snack constantly. And when we say snacking, we want to give your gut some rest periods. So if you're going to the coffee shop and you're having these sugary drinks, these lattes with sugary syrups and things like that, that is essentially food, shall we say. I use that term loosely, but it's going to be calories that your body then needs to digest or spike in glucose. So don't be snacking constantly. Have rest periods for your gut. Then, if tolerated, include fermented foods like sauerkraut, like kefir. Get them in there and have them if they are tolerated. If you don't, if you've got a high histamine issue or anything like that and you don't tolerate fermented foods well, then yeah, we don't want to be working on them. Hydration is key. Hydration. A pinch of sea salt for mineral balance, and that's going to be vital for good digestion. But having electrolytes a couple of times a day, making sure you're getting good quality water. You need to be hydrated in order to have good gut health. Your gut is going to be absorbing the food and it's going to be taking water out there. How many times have you been having diarrhea and then suddenly you get dehydrated, or people have diarrhea and then suddenly they just, it's one of the ones where when I used to compete in bodybuilding, I remember so many people used to get diarrhea near showtime. Their immune system was low, they're extreme dieting, they're very low on body fat, but then they would look really dry. Such definition because they just lost so much water. You need to be hydrated to have good gut health. One big one, which I feel a lot of people could do, is getting their protein levels up. Having protein with every meal, that's going to help support your gut lining repair. It's also going to support hormone synthesis. So we need to have that in there. The number one, reducing alcohol and reducing caffeine if sleep and digestion are off, which you're this far in this video. So I would assume that sleep is something which you can improve on, and digestion is pretty certainly off if you're watching this gut health video. Now, we've been through a lot of things there. There's a lot of takeaways, the clean up, rebuild, re-inoculate. We need to go through those phases, but essentially healthy hormones start with a healthy gut. Whether you're male, whether you're female, whether it's testosterone, whether it's estrogen, whether it's thyroid, whatever hormone it is, it starts with a healthy gut. Without that foundation, you will always be chasing the symptoms. You will literally be chasing your tail. You know that I've been to the doctors and they've said, we can't see hormone issues, or you've got IBS and these sorts of things. So if you are struggling with sleep, if you are struggling with low motivation or low libido, it's time to look deeper. Message me and let's see what's really going on with